good stuff.
You feel me?
So I guess we could go into kind of how would someone begin with starting we could start with an online business maybe.
Any kind of online
yeah,
business.
because obviously your niche with helping people scale up their, online coaching when it comes to fitness. But how could someone get, involved with, starting an online business?
Yeah, I think, okay, so this might be contrary to a lot of what other gurus and shit say, but I think you should have a fucking job first, right? You had a job when you started, because it's difficult if you relying on income from a new business you just started.
I wish more people said that, bro.
Yeah,
You're
man.
one of the few people that tells them yo, get a fucking job first.
Yeah.
Everyone else says, oh, laptop lifestyle. Yeah, you can go ahead and be an entrepreneur right away.
You got to work your way up to that, man. You know what I'm saying? It's very rare that you see that.
Yeah.
And those are the exceptions that people do it. If you got a job, then you have, you want to, at least you can have your bills covered.
Yeah.
And shit, and then you start it on the side. And then you might have to put in more hours.
Yeah.
Of the day, right? And here's the thing. The average person walking around the street, everyone I see, they have so much potential that's untapped, right? But they don't know how to utilize it and really bring it to the surface. And part of that is, really dialing in your calendar. You get what I'm saying? So one thing that helped me, this is when I was struggling. I had multiple jobs. It was during the recession after my father blew his brains out, right? And I had to take care of the whole family. And, one thing I did, man, is I was like, okay, I ain't got no money, but I got time, right? So I started planning out every hour of every day. And so this is my calendar. Even now, too.
Even years later, man, still the same way.
Every hour of every day.
Militant.
Because if you do that, what happens is you're going to squeeze out more success each day. Does that make sense? You'll find you're going to accomplish more. If you out here freestyling your days, it's not going to work. I'm not saying it can't work, but what's going to happen is sometimes the time just goes, Yeah. And you're just like, fuck. All right. But everybody who's followed my advice when I say start planning out every hour of every day, everyone who's done this shit, they get more done in a week than they had the prior month. Mm-hmm. And if you start stacking those week after week, then you start running circles around the competition. You can really start outpacing any issues you have, any problems you have. You can take it to the. I'm sorry, man. This shit distracted me.
No, you good.
You can take it to the next level. You can really get control of your life. Bruce Lee said, "If you love life, don't waste time, because time is what life is made of."
Fair,
right? So you want to start weaponizing your day, weaponizing the hours, and it starts with the calendar. Plan out every hour of every day.
Gotcha, bitch.
And that's why if you have a job, then you can work, another 40 hours. Because people say, man, what about family and all that shit? First of all, when people say that fucking family shit, unless you got a bunch of kids, what you talking? If you don't have your own family, unless you got kids, so sometimes it'd be young dudes. I'm what you talking about? Spending time with mommy, nigga?
Yeah.
You would spend time with your mommy, man. It's time for you to lead in that. You spend too much time with your mom. That's why you sound like a bitch right now. You know what I'm saying? It's time to step out and be a man on your own. So. But anyway, this is 168 hours in every fucking week, right? And here's the thing. If you work 80 hours a week, which I think you should, either on your own, it was multiple jobs at first, right? But you can have your job and your business.
Would you say that's step one of the tangible,
get a fucking job. Make sure you got a job. And
80 hours, though, because not a lot of people are saying that. Yeah.
80 hours. If you're not, listen, business is fucking hard.
Yeah.
80% of businesses fail. Only 5% of businesses ever reach $1 million a year. Right? The odds are super fucking low that you're going to succeed in any kind of business. Right? You know what I'm saying? So you have to really put the odds in your favor by putting in more time.
Yeah.
More time, more effort. 80 hours a week, even if it's your own business, especially if it's your own business.
Yeah.
If that's the only thing you're doing now, you got to make sure that shit succeeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, if you're working a job, when you're working there, your employers are gonna pay you just enough to make you go to work, pay the bills, and come back.
Yeah.
Versus your actual friends that work with you, they've been there 20, 40 years. You should say, you know what? I don't want to be these guys here 40 years plus, still doing the same job that I'm doing at 20. So I want to get out the job as soon as possible. And if it's start a side business, then at that point I can work towards that, leaving my job.
Yeah, and you want to have some income, man. You want to have some income. When you're starting your business, you don't want to rely on, man. You don't want to be in a position where you got to make rent this month off a job, of a business you just started.
Survival.
And you just learned.
Yeah.
How, you know what I'm saying? Because here's how you get rich. Like, how you get rich is you make more money than you spend and invest the difference. And if you do that over a long enough period of time,
Compound
you
effect.
will get rich.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you will get rich. Make more money you spend and invest
Sounds so
the difference.
simple, but like in practice, this is what most Americans fail at.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's really no other way. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you get like a super high paying job, but you can still fuck that up if you if you're spending more than you make. Like,
Absolutely.
fucking athletes go broke all the time.
There was some study that came out like last year that people that make 6 figures a year, a majority of them still live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So it's not, $100,000 a year is not that much, guys. And I would argue in today's day and age, it's even less now with inflation and how, the dollar's dropped off so much just from 2020. Like almost 50% of the money in current and circulation now was printed during the COVID era.
Yeah.
So it's
Even
like,
rappers like Fat Joe and all these guys are saying like, yo, I make good money from my
see that
career.
shit?
$1 million plus just went out his hand.
Check the
disappeared.
check. Yeah.
And it's like they live check to check, making 100. How much he made? Like what? 2 million, 5 million.
He was saying some wild numbers, man. He was still
and it
living
went
check to check.
disappeared like poof.
Fat Joe?
Yeah, Fat Joe and this other rapper. Is it Jadakiss?
Jadakiss, yeah.
Yeah, they had
When-
a podcast.
Okay.
They spoke about how they lost money.
Okay, when they were, this probably in the height of their careers,
Yeah.
music-wise?
They said Jay was like, you got to keep working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause you got to keep working because they make their lifestyle match their income.
Yeah.
So they got to keep. But I'm saying do the opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you see me like with like fucking expensive watches and jewelry and shit now, but you got to remember, man, for like almost 10 years on YouTube, all you saw me was with fucking some Jordans and an Apple Watch.
You know what's
Yeah,
impressive, bro? He has no car. That to me is insane.
You know what? I'm real reluctant to raise.
That's common with New Yorkers, though.
Yeah, it's
A lot of New Yorkers don't have driver's licenses.
Really?
though.
Yo, bro, I just got
Very
my driver's
common.
license like last year.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, I lived in New York. I
hold
lived
on.
in New York for 15 years, man.
But you're in Florida now, bro. Like,
yeah, no.
come on,
Now I
man.
got my. Listen, I
A
lived.
lot of people don't know that about New Yorkers. Like, a lot of them don't have driver's license. A lot of them don't know how to drive. It's very...
Lucario.
Yeah, Lucario to this day doesn't have a license.
Bro,
Oh, damn.
I had a Illinois driver's license because I'm from Chicago, South Side. What up? And I moved to New York after college, and I immediately got rid of my car because it was like, oh, this is a nightmare driving here. And the train, the shit was more
It
convenient.
costs you more to keep the car than to...
Bro,
like, it's
parking,
bad.
alternate side of the street shit.
Bruh.
It was intense, right? So and then my driver's license expired. I was like, man, I'm in New York. I ain't get it. I just didn't renew it.
There's no need.
And I didn't renew it till I came to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like last year I got my driver's
But I'll be
license.
honest though, from what I'm learning from these guys that have a lot of money, billionaires, they're like, yo, less I have, the better. So they have no type of like recurring bills. All the shit that would be on your mind mentally to drain you is
Bro.
gone. And just put all the money back into your business and focus on that.
Yeah.
I swear that's the shit I think about all the time. Like I'm reluctant to raise my reoccurring
Bills.
expenses. I'll buy some one-time shit. If I buy a watch, that's one time.
It's done.
Buy some clothes one time. Buy some fucking diamonds, jewelry, shit is one time. But like to raise your recurring expenses, then it's like, I just there's no amount of money you can't fuck up.
Yeah.
So
There's no amount of money you can't fuck up.
remember the whole Bitcoin boom?
Yeah.
You guys are going crazy in the clubs, buying cars. So buddy of mine owns a dealership here in Fort Lauderdale, right? And actually, you know it. And what happened was they would buy cars every month. Like they would buy like this car, that car. I'm like, damn, these niggas are balling.
Yeah.
But you know the problem though? When the money slowed down,
When the money slow down.
that bill is still there. So that now you're cooked because you got to pay all these bills and the money slowed down.
Every business is going to have ups and downs.
Yeah.
Like, every business is going to have ups and downs seasons. That's why most businesses don't last more than 5 years, right? Because they can't outmatch the seasons, and then to do it for decades is super hard because there's a recession on average every 10 years. And most businesses don't survive that shit, right? So you got to always protect the downside. You get what I'm saying? Like always protect the downside.
You know who's the smartest person I know in the industry right now?
No, if it's not me, besides me, who is it?
Well, indirectly, it would be you, but it's really Myron because you mentored him.
Yeah,
Because
that's me. Yeah.
he doesn't spend money, saves it, put it in real estate, stocks, and crypto, and has low expenses.
No, he's doing it right because Myron's been rich for like what 5 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, I guess it's relative. So for me, right, like making $130K per year for me, even back then, I would consider that a lot of money.
You feel
Because my expenses were so low.
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing.
It's like even when I was working for the government, I was like not spending that much money anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just like I think materialism is like one of the worst things that we have in Western society. I think it's really bad. Now, like, I think there's ways to go about it. Like, the way you go about it is really fucking smart, where you have 5 different accounts. And then you have, which I'd like for you to explain to them how you do it, actually. Because there are some people here that want to niggify, which is fine. But the way you do it is really smart. Like, where it's like, yo, I have multiple accounts, and then I have an account where this money goes in, where it's like literally just expendable income. Expendable income.
I didn't start flexing.
When I met you weren't flexing.
I wasn't flexing. I didn't start flexing until I had enough assets.
You were flexing.
No. When I met him, he wasn't.
Not in like 2018.
When I met him, he was wearing rubber bands and Apple Watches. He wasn't flexing even back then.
His muscles. Come on, bro. You can't say you're flexing.
Okay. Yeah. But when I met Brandon, like,
when
in
the soldier
2018,
strikes again.
when I met Brandon in 2018, he was very like Apple, basically. But he was at the end of that curve at that point. Then you started balling right after that.
When the assets pay for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, because rich dad, poor dad, right?
Yeah.
Like I read that when I was 19. I was like, okay, your assets have to pay for your luxury, right? Because then you can do it all the time.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop. You know what I'm saying? But if you
ball forever,
exactly. If you use
you're the only person I
income,
know that's put a system on it where it'll never fuck you. You're the only person I know that's done it.
Yeah, I invest 50% of every dollar I make.
Damn.
My dad told me to do that. When I was in high school. And I was like, "Is that what you do?" He was like, "Nah," but I want to make sure you don't. But it's like I saw why he said it. He was telling me to do this because he fucked up, right? And then that was part of the reason why he ended up like taking his life. Like he lost everything, and all types of shit, right? And
so 50% automatically is going into the thing. Like, it's coming in because I know all your money comes in one account, which I did that too. And then 50% goes immediately to investing. And then the other 50 it goes to where?
And then so like 30% of the income is what you live off of.
Okay.
Right. And then the numbers change depending on where you at, right? But I like 30% because it's like it's.
And when we say that, are we talking food, your rent?
Everything.
Electricity?
Rent, food, electric bills, right? So you immediately realize, but you got to make more money.
To use that 30%.
Yeah, you got to make more money. If you're only going to live on 30% of your income, you got to make more money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Also, inflation, prices are going up.
Yeah,
cost of living.
It's not gonna hit you like that fast in a year, right? But that's where the investments come from. Because if you're investing money, inflation helps you. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you have investments, then inflation is a good thing. You think this shit is happening on accident?
No.
You think the fucking smartest people in the world are just letting this shit happen?
Yeah.
Aren't letting this shit happen?
Oh yeah.
Because they invest it, right? When inflation goes up, motherfucking the prices of your assets
a perfect
go
example.
up.
Like real estate, one of my favorite hedges against inflation.
Yeah.
Because the money that you owe on it goes down in value because you secured a mortgage on that property, and then the value of it goes up. So what ends up happening is, like, over a period of time, the equity in the home is a lot of times will be worth more than what you owe on it.
You can call it like a forced saving account.
So if you know that, do you think that the motherfuckers in charge don't want?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
They know what it is.
They know what it is,
So, but yeah, so 30% is a really good. So that's the barometer. Like, people should strive for that.
30 to 40, you know what I'm saying? So these numbers are like, you strive for 30, No,
that's good, because then basically you should be able to pay your rent and everything 3 times over.
Yeah.
That's what people, so I think for people logistically, when they're looking here, okay, well, 30%, kind of personify that for me. Okay, well, you should be able to pay for your living expenses and your rent 3 times over. That means that you make more than enough and you're in a good position to invest.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you got, about like, let's call it like 10%, 5 to 10%.
So 50 goes in, 30 for living. So now you got 20 left.
Yeah, you got 20 left, right? So maybe like 15%, let's call it 15% for taxes. Now, if you got a job, some of that tax is coming out.
Yeah.
But you still want to put 50% because let's say you got a business as well. So you want to keep some of the money, then you can write some of this shit off, and you might not be profitable your first year. So, you know what I'm saying? You might not pay no taxes on your business, right?
Yeah.
And so it really just depends. And then when you have a business, you can write shit off, and depending on the state you live in, that percentage might have to be more.
Yep.
Or depending on what kind of write-offs you have. Yeah.
Shit like that. Yep.
Yeah, that's why I left New York.
Yep. Was the taxes were getting
the
crazy,
taxes
right?
is the number one reason I left New York.
Damn.
Wow, New York State tax is not, bro. It's
and
bad.
Manhattan has this tax. Yeah, there's another tax if you live in Manhattan. Is a city tax. Yeah.
So you're getting taxed by the feds, then you get taxed by the state, and then the city taxes you for being in Manhattan in particular.
Yeah.
Is there a Queens or Brooklyn tax or no?
Nah, man.
Manhattan.
I mean, the tax for living in Brooklyn is living in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's gotten better now, though. I was shocked.
Oh yeah, it's gotten
a lot better now, but
man.
yeah.
You won't like the reason why.
Oh,
You won't like it.
yeah, I know why.
I think it's cool.
We're comedians, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
You won't like the reason why.
This is a comedy skit.
Yeah, but
Understandable.
but
no, I think New York is
and there,
32, man.
I love New York.
I like New York.
I love New York, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to, back in Dykeman, Washington Heights, they call me, you know what I'm saying, Papi Negro. You know what I'm saying? Keto Suave. You know what I'm saying? Me and Thay, you know, que lo que. But
You said what's up in Dominican?
Yeah, I did not
slang.
know that there's a Manhattan tax, though.
yeah,
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So then you have like 5% just for balling.
Yeah.
Just for fucking ball, like spending on some dumb shit is like a reward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 5 to 10%, depending on how much you put aside for taxes, just for balling.
Okay.
And
So if you make $10K a month, basically, you're putting like $500 away.
Exactly.
For fun.
Right. So if you want to
you're
buy
making $10K a month, guys.
Exactly, right. So that motivated me, right?
Yeah.
So like, let's say
Because 500 ain't that much when you're making 10.
Let's say I wanted to
you gotta
buy
make way more.
Let's say I wanted to buy a new outfit that cost like $500. I want to get some new J's. This is back in the day. I wanted to get some J's and maybe some other shit. I got to spend $500. That means I set a goal. Okay, I know I got to make 10 bands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like it will push me
Gotcha.
to make
Yeah.
more money. You get what I'm saying? If you put those kind of restrictions on it. But the reason, but also,
It's good mental.
right? It's a reframe.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, I the shit I want to buy costs $500. I got to make 10 bands. So I get it. But remember, we're investing half the money we make.
Yeah.
Right? So that forces me to invest $5,000.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
You see how that works?
It goes into an account that you don't even.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And that was really. I mean, that's one of the reasons. I see people talking about, man, they fucking go broke. You're either influencers
course,
or
yeah.
fucking even business people, and that was one of the things that kept me afloat, because it's been down times.
Of course. Yeah.
But it don't look like there's down times.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, okay, boom, I got all these investments I was able to pull from. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, my dad didn't.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You know
At
what I'm
what
saying?
age did you learn this? What age were you when you learned this? Because
A lot of shit was, my dad was telling me shit to do that he didn't do. Like, he was telling me all his mistakes. So a lot of people don't know this. I got sent away to military school. We grew up on the south side of Chicago, like super poor and shit, right? And I got sent away to military school, and I was like one of the only like broke kids there. It was on some like affirmative action shit. They needed another nigga up in there, and I guess they looked at me and said, "Close enough." Yeah. And
the black token.
Yeah, so I was over there, man. And when we were struggling, like mom ain't have a car, none of that shit, But when I went to military school, around that time, his business started to take off. He was working on his business the whole time, right? Struggling. It then started to take off.
Sales, right? Or
Yeah, he had an insurance claims business, but he did all the sales, right?
Gotcha.
And he ran it. He started to take off. And by the time I graduated from high school, he was making $3 million a year.
Wow.
Adjusted for inflation, this is in 2000.
Yeah.
So adjusted for inflation, that'd have been $8 million.
Yeah.
And I didn't experience it because I was gone, right? I knew it happened. So because I knew it happened, anything this nigga told me, you know what I'm saying? Like I saw him come up. So anything, and remember, this nigga was a street nigga, right? He ain't have no high school diploma. He was an orphan. He ain't know his parents, none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's a real Chicago street nigga. And like straight up, like I ain't no other way to say it. And then I didn't experience none of the wealth, but I knew it happened, right? Because I was at military school. Then I went to college, Howard University. By the time I graduated from college, he lost all the money, then killed himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because the depression that hit in like 07, 08,
well,
right?
It was like he lost all the money, right? And then he got fucking bad. Like he wasn't mentally right. And then he killed himself in 07. Like, but because
he lost it before the depression hit.
Well, before the recession, because it was
recession, excuse me.
But there was like signs of that before. Like some people were doing bad, like small businesses and shit were already doing bad.
Yeah.
So
You get what I'm saying?
He knew it was coming.
I mean, it came to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if he knew a fucking recession was coming, but he knew that his shit was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he ain't see no way out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, that kind of just taught me, okay, just because you get rich,
Yeah.
don't mean you can't fuck it up. So we started back from zero. He didn't leave us no money. He had no money. There was nothing left. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even fit the nigga's shoes, right? So my feet are bigger than.
Where did
so
all the
like,
money go? Like, what did he spend it on? Like,
man, yo, you know some real shit. So he
like $30 million back then is a lot of money, bro.